Hello, this is a reading for Libra for 2024. Welcome in, and we've been rolling away at readings. We've been going bananas, doing all different kinds of readings for all the different signs, and now we're at your sign, Libra. Just to grab you some predictions, general feel for the year. Do what you will with this reading. You can check out the other ones here. They're also on YouTube, and just so you know, we're streaming too, so I might engage with the chat a bit, who knows. And if you'd like to come see the live streams, just come on over to Twitch. That's where we're saying stuff in real time, not recorded. And I maybe said something kind of controversial there in Taurus's reading that is the type of thing you might hear more often in a live stream that doesn't get recorded. But hey, will I go on record? Why not? What reputation do I have to keep? 4 of Cups. I don't want to hear about. So earlier in the night, we were reading for other signs, the Sagittarius, Virgo especially. Virgo came up with this like, don't talk about work. I don't want to talk about work. Let's talk about something else. And there's just kind of like these little injections of like, can you please not make this reading about work, because that's all anybody wants to talk about. It's okay, Jamie. You can see it tomorrow, uploaded. That's for the chat. Okay, cool. Let's not talk about work. But I don't know if it's work that you don't want to talk about. Let's see what you don't want to talk about, or what you don't want to hear about. I'm not saying I'm going to say what you don't want to hear about, but it will help me to understand why I got a message right before we started recording about the Devil card. And as the evening progresses, just so you know, Libra, you're kind of reading number 8, I think. And things are going to get gradually more and more unhinged as we get later in the evening. I can guarantee that. I'll be less awake and more sleepy as the night goes on. So my apologies to the next signs, but well, that's why we chose randomly. Okay, this is kind of along the theme, and maybe it's just because my headspace right now, but like there's something about, you know, the Emperor and home. Home is the 4 of Wands. You know, being the head of a household is a big value in a way. It's the value of home, the 4 of Wands. And we've had this ongoing, you know, push since, I don't know, for the last 100 years to that you can be subservient everywhere else, but you can be the master in your own home. And that's been, we're not gonna talk about encouraging you to do that. The last reading with Taurus kind of ended in this place where it was a little along that theme. It's just kind of like, this is something we take as like a, you know, a given. But is that the only way things can be? And 2024, to me, I've been reading is a lot about kind of subverting those traditional kind of ways of thought. Do we even know why we carry this belief that it's okay to have different levels of authority or agency in different environments? And what was that ever designed to serve anyway? So that's kind of obscure. Let's get more specific for Libra. Don't want to hear about home ownership. Let's not even talk about home ownership. It's not happening. Like, there's maybe some realizing. That's been a big thing these days, realizing that the dream is getting a little less and less viable, realistic, to carve out a space where you are the owner, you are the master. See, this is the consequence, right? We can kind of forget about the idea that we've been sold this thing where here we are working toward deserving the environment where we finally can be in control. And we're willing to work in environments where we aren't in control. We're willing to navigate environments where we aren't in control with the promise that this will lead to us having an environment where we are in control, or basically with the guarantee that we can have control in certain environments. And so in certain environments, namely your home, when we start losing the ability to own homes as in general, as like people in this society, is we start losing the ability to even access those things. What we're left with is basically but we're of course what's preserved is the environment, the other environment where we don't have control. Aye. Knight of Swords. Okay. Something big's about to happen. Libra, you and Taurus put together are going to be in some pretty interesting positions in the near future. This is about being in a position to know what you know and see what you see. And you have a great effect on the world. Everyone does, but these are like practical effects I'm seeing. It's an imaginary image. It's an ideal, this kind of let's say dream, the dream that's been sold. It's an imaginary image, and maybe it did work when it was working, and when it stops working, that means it doesn't work anymore. There's you here just basically not buying it. Maybe literally, but also figuratively as well. Like, I'm not buying into it anymore. There's this kind of like, not promise for later. Give it to me now. I'll give it to myself now. The thing that's promised to me later, I'll give to myself now. Rather than playing all these games to promise myself this thing later via someone else's control, I'll just give it to myself now. And what is that thing? Ooh, I know, I feel it too. So somebody's saying I feel chaos. Yeah, absolutely. Unhinged. I am unhinged right now. It's very true. I'm speaking freely. Look at this. The pages are seen as these kind of, this is new. It's a new way of looking at things. Here's something new for you, Libra, for 2024. A message for you, and maybe it's short and sweet. Maybe we don't have to stay here for too long. Robin Hood had something. Robin Hood had something. What if we just give ourselves the thing now? And what is the thing? We'll find out. But there's chaos. You're right. Somebody in the chat said that they sense chaos, and I sense it too. There's the Knight of Swords is very chaotic. It's very triggered. It's very, and this would be maybe you observing, or you having the ability to observe that this energy that you might be able to relate with a little bit more than the chaos would be not buying into this dream or this. Basically, I would say Seven of Swords is saying it's dishonest. It's basically a lie at this point, that the promise is empty, that you've been promised something that's not going to be delivered. And you're in a position starting in 2024 to deliver that promise to yourself without, it's not the promise that you wanted anyway. There's like something like to have control in a certain environment, to be in charge of a certain environment, to have agency in a certain environment. It's like a revolutionary new idea. It's a young idea that all you have to do to have it now instead of later is to not buy into the idea that you'll have it later. To not buy into something that sells that to you. And you give, by not listening to it, by not letting it be what you take in as personal, that ends up being exactly how you give yourself that thing right away. Snake oil. It's been snake oil. There's something about giving it away as well to somebody who is looking to steal it, which is interesting. And then there's something about working with an energy that wants to take that back to the real home. That. Let me get a word for this dream, the dream, you know. I would say I'm going to use the concept of home ownership because it works really, really well. It doesn't just exist in home ownership, but that is like a theme that's pretty common and relatable these days. I can't remember. I think it's like, what did I see? It's a stat in the United States that the threshold for being able to afford, it's like in the past 2 years or something, the minimum salary required to qualify for a home mortgage is doubled in some places. And so it's just basically, and jobs aren't paying that much. So it's, and then another thing I saw, and people are getting together. Like there are people who are saying like, oh, I'd like to have a platonic relationship with somebody that I share all the perks of marriage with. Like, we pay rent together, and, we keep each other warm, and we eat dinner together and save money on groceries and all that stuff, but just platonic. And then I heard somebody today say, oh, an inflationship, an inflationship. Yeah. Getting into an inflationship. Okay. So I'll use that as like, basically to save for later. Basically that the things that you have now are not good enough, and that you have to constantly be planning to have the thing you're looking for later. The grass is greener. Later is the dream, is home ownership. It's down the road. Once you own a home, then you'll have more freedom. And what more people are reporting than ever is never actually acquiring or attaining that freedom. There's something here about being, now you're stuck with a house to take care of. So it doesn't even make that much sense. Although there is something to be said for an investment and all that stuff. But let's say that this is like, you don't want to hear, you're not buying into the idea that it results in freedom for everyone. I don't want to say that you're going to all of a sudden completely disagree with the value of home ownership. There's something about not buying into the absolute nature of it anymore. The absoluteness of it is the surefire path to financial freedom. It's like, not sure if we can buy into that anymore. Not sure if we have the data to prove that's true anymore. There's something about giving yourself the fruits of your labor now, or even giving yourself the thing that you've sacrificed for that dream now instead of later. And it's not even giving it to yourself. I see there's this flow of whatever this resource is. Let's say it's money that you would be spending on a house, giving it to and now I see this Empress, the Seven of Swords, I see this Page of Wands. Giving it to what you do believe in. I'm not going to dictate what that is. I'm not a dictator. I don't know what it is you believe in. But I do trust your heart, Libra. If anybody's heart we can trust, it's Libra's, and especially if somebody tries to tie a Libra up into a bad deal. Libras are are the ones who will have figured this out first. It was never about investing in a home. It was always about investing in what you believe in. And there's a force that I'm predicting in 2024 that is going to start taking your donations, like not in the sense of you're going to be giving donations to this channel, for example, which, you know, if you want to do, no, I'm kidding, I'm joking. Although there is a donation link if you want to toss some, no, never mind, forget about it. That's not what this is about. This is about you investing in what you believe in, investing. This isn't a donation per se. That I'm seeing that things are going to start opening up. The Empress is here, the Knight of Swords. And so the Knight of Swords is like a triggered energy. And a triggered energy is a lot like a crying baby. And when a baby starts crying, sometimes there's a maternal energy that comes in to soothe the crying baby. And be careful about that because, you know, we're adults now and we're vulnerable in that way. We're very triggered and something can come in and take advantage of the fact. All they have to do is put on that they are mommy and we will buy into it. This looks to me like genuine though. So you'll have to discern, but I mean, in a climate where we have such an obvious example of what is not taking care of us, I think we have more ability than ever to discern what will and won't take care of us. So I'm seeing you investing in things that you do believe in. And it's okay if that belief of yours is rooted in a form of aggression or anger. This is angering. This is angering. The cards are letting me speak a little bit because it's like we're asked to venture toward greener grass. And we're asked to take a risk for a reward in a position of already knowing the reward isn't there. And Libra energy I see as a leader or maybe basically the first energy to realize that what we were in it for was never to trust that this was going to take care of us. We were in it to invest in what we believe in. There's something spiritual about investing in what you believe in, taking your resources and channeling them toward the things that you believe deserve to grow. You believe you want to contribute toward growing, like deserve everything, you know, that's maybe the wrong word, but I said deserve probably because of Libra energy. I would say like there's something good here. I don't know what it is, and you'll have to help us to discern. There's something good here that's a little bit like Robin Hood, it's like willing to help you to channel those resources towards something that you can believe in. And when you have an anger that doesn't exclude you from this experience, that is something that we've been sold that is not true. That the minute you have anger, that means that there's something wrong with you, and that means that you must be wrong. That it's just another option for reasons to redirect or change your course. It's not spite. It looks like just a good a reason as any to redirect is about it. Anger is a real emotion. It's a real thing. And maybe anger is one of those ones that kind of compels action a little bit more easily. And maybe that's exactly what's needed. Maybe Libra, maybe you see the value in something like anger as a motivator. To try something new, it's a good enough reason. Nobody ever said that you had to do everything forever. No harm in trying something new. Something that offers reciprocity in the face of something that promised reciprocity and delivered none. Take this for whatever it works for you. It could be a relationship. It could be that, you finally had it with relationships that promise all kinds of things and never deliver. And in 2024, it's okay if you're so angry with that concept that now you're just basically only willing to invest in things that promise, not just promise, but immediately offer reciprocity. High Priestess is here. You're seen as the High Priestess this year. That's your card. There's something deeper going on here that you can sense. When you're the first one to wake up to something like this, you'll have a bit of a whoa. I don't know what's going to happen when everybody realizes this. But if I'm as angry as I am about this stuff, then what happens when everybody is? And so that chaos thing that we've picking up on kind of seems like a this is going to be something. The expression on the Rider-Waite High Priestess is one of just the High Priestess just saw some stuff. And there may be a sense of responsibility in that you know what the right thing to do is. And if you start this, we could almost say revolution. If you start doing these things, if you start making these efforts to redirect your time, focus, money toward things not that promise reciprocity later, but that offer reciprocity now, this movement will take hold. And I feel like you're going to see this unfolding in such a way where you're just going to start seeing these opportunities popping up more and more and more over the course of the year. And at first it can seem like, am I seeing this right? And as it starts to gain momentum, let me just get a card for the momentum of it, because I see the High Priestess just having this moment right now, maybe even in February with the number 2. Where there's a sudden, maybe even with your first kind of like realizing, or your first kind of recognition, what a little bit of effort redirected, a little bit of resource redirected towards something you actually do believe in. Not something that promises later to be later what you do believe in, but just invest directly into what is already presenting itself to be what you believe in. That even the beginnings, your first experiences with this concept, that was guided. you never would have. Never mind. Seven of Pentacles, the Ace of Cups. I'm going to get in trouble for all this stuff I'm saying. The Seven of Pentacles, the Ace of Cups. It's not so much realizing how powerful this is going to be, the change in the world. This is a change that the world needs to see. And I don't think Libra has ever shied away from being the change the world needs to see. We're all changing in a way this year, except for Aries, apparently. Go figure. And we're looking at this situation in awe, not because of the power of this thing here, but in sudden realization of how obvious it becomes that we never could have worked hard enough to deserve something that we always had. That we've been sold a story that it's not ours and that we have to earn it. And meanwhile, we actually already have it. And the problem hasn't been that we haven't had it. The problem has been that we've been channeling our resources into a promise that we don't have it. If this makes sense to you, Libra, this is like a pep talk, or maybe less of a kind of like, if this is what you've been sensing, it's like, yeah. Are we going there this year? We're going there this year. This is the year to get what you deserve. And it's not by going and acquiring it. It's just by having it, because you already have, and you always will, and you always have. It's exciting. The Empress, I want to see a little bit about what nature of this opportunity. Five of Pentacles. Doesn't always look too encouraging. And the Tower doesn't look too encouraging either. And the Ten of Cups. Aha! Cool. And that's kind of the nature of it. Maybe you can recognize these opportunities coming up. There's not a question. There's not a question about these opportunities, these type of opportunities, or this redirector, these things that offer reciprocity right away, not promises for reciprocity in the future. These things have this certain, when you're redirecting toward these things, they have this kind of pattern to them. The first thing it might do, the redirect, is, but then what if I don't have enough money? And what about all of the wealth that I've built until now, if it's got to do with money? Or if there's this what if, this sense of like, it's not going to give me what I've been working so hard for. This promise that I've been following, they've sold me this thing that says, well, if I don't do this, then I'm going to be on the streets and I'm going to be broke and I'm going to be down and out and I won't have anything. I'll be in despair. It'll be cold and I won't have a jacket. It'll be terrible. And then followed by a tower. That's kind of the next thing that comes out. The Tower being kind of, and all of these things that I thought I knew. So this looks really terrible. This is like the worst right here. The Five of Pentacles and the Tower put together is like the ultimate worst case scenario. And the thing about reciprocity that distinguishes it from any other promise that is aiming to imitate reciprocity is that it can contain these qualities of risk where this could totally mess everything up that I've been working on up until now. And it's still utopia. compared to the experience of working towards something that I could never possibly work hard enough to achieve. I could lose everything and I know without a doubt, without a question, that I would be happier here. This is an intuitive exercise. This is about trusting yourself, because you're going to tell yourself something in here. Go there. Go to a place where you're about to lose everything. Like in your mind or in this kind of experiment. Give yourself a minute with that. If you were going to lose all of this stuff that you built up now, up until now, and you know for sure that this is something where you're going to be happy, versus continuing to work towards something that's becoming more and more obvious that is not actually attainable, or it's not designed to be attained, it's designed to fail. Then it becomes obvious that this stuff has been an illusion. How could you experience despair from a tower falling that had never been built? It has been an illusion. You haven't been building a tower. You've been allocating your resources toward an empty promise, as something that has been designed to fail, something that hasn't been delivering on its promise. And every single day that something has not delivered on its promise, and you've fronted your labor and energy and money to, that's just another day that this tower wasn't being built. And so it actually won't be any different. It'll just be happier. That's it. I don't know. Fun reading. I'd like to believe that that's true. Do you? Thank you so much for being here. Thanks so much for watching your reading. Thanks for supporting the channel. Come see us streaming. Tarot Lady in a Church channel on Twitch. Happy 2024. And I almost said 2026. Right there. For some reason I find it hard to distinguish between 2024 and 2026. Those 2 years feel like the same year to me. For Libra especially. This is going to be a good year. It's a year of like dropping the illusions. All right. Bye.